The hardest test of faith is not when God says no. It is when he says nothing. When the heavens seem locked and your prayers echo back with silence. When you have surrendered everything you know to surrender, aligned your heart to God's will, fought off distractions, stayed on your knees in prayer, and still, nothing moves. No door opens, no breakthrough comes, no clear sign appears, only an unshakable silence that stretches on day after day, month after month, sometimes even years, a silence. Heavy enough to crush hope if you let it, a silence that whispers to your soul that maybe you were forgotten, maybe the promise was never real, maybe you should give up and move on. Yet deep down something keeps you waiting. Something keeps you holding on to the unseen because even though your heart aches, there is a pull in your spirit that refuses to let go of what God said. And this is the place where faith is not flashy but raw. Not about miracles in plain sight, but about clinging to a God who seems hidden. And this is the weight of waiting. It is not gentle. It is not soft. It is not easy. It is a furnace that burns away the false layers of comfort. It is the fire that tests if your love for God is based on what he gives you or who he is. It is the storm that unmasks your motives and reveals if you are truly surrendered or just in love with blessings. Because waiting is not punishment. Waiting is preparation. Waiting is God's refining fire where he molds his strongest vessels in the hidden places of delay. Waiting is the unseen classroom of heaven where God trains his chosen ones for glory too heavy to carry without the strength built in the silence. Think of Abraham, promised a son yet left holding nothing for 25 long years, each year another layer of faith stretched thin but not broken. And in the silence God shaped him into the father of nations. Think of Joseph, who dreamed of greatness but was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and sat forgotten in prison for more than a decade. Yet in that waiting God prepared his wisdom, his resilience, his capacity to govern a nation. Think of David, anointed as king yet, chased into caves, hunted like an animal for years before he ever touched the throne. And in that waiting God trained his hands for battle, his heart for worship, and his leadership for a kingdom. Think of Hannah, mocked and barren year after year, praying for a child with tears that felt unanswered until the appointed time came. And Samuel was born to change a nation. The pattern is never random. It is intentional. It is the rhythm of heaven. Before destiny comes delay, before fulfillment comes fire, before the promise is delivered, God tests the vessel that will carry it. And yet here lies the mystery that shakes the heart. Waiting is not the absence of God. It is the very proof of his nearness, because only a loving father would take such care to prepare his children so deeply, and Isaiah 40 verse 31 declares, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Meaning it is in the waiting that your wings are formed. It is in the delay that your roots grow deep. It is in the silence that your faith grows teeth strong enough to bite through doubt. It is in the stillness where God teaches you to hear his whisper beyond the noise. Yet waiting hurts. Waiting bruises the heart. Waiting makes you feel left behind while others advance, forgotten while others are celebrated. Waiting makes you question your worth, your calling, your purpose. Makes you wonder if you misheard God, if you misstepped along the way, if you disqualified yourself. But waiting is not wasted time. Waiting is the womb of transformation. Waiting is the hidden forge where God strengthens your shoulders to carry the blessing without breaking under it. Waiting is the unseen construction site where your character is built brick by brick so that the promise does not destroy you when it arrives too soon. Because unprepared blessings are as dangerous as curses, and God loves you too much to let you collapse under a blessing you are not ready to bear. The weight of waiting is heavy, yes, but it is not designed to crush you. It is designed to build you, to stretch your faith, to deepen your trust, to carve out of you the person who can stand in the place God has prepared. Because waiting is not God's delay. It is his design, his perfect timing that we cannot always see, but must learn to trust. And one day, when the silence breaks, when the door swings open, when the promise you carried in prayer for years finally comes alive in your hands, you will see with your own eyes that every tear, every delay, every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer in the waiting was not wasted. It was sacred preparation, divine chiseling, holy refinement, and you will look back and whisper, "Lord, you were here all along." So if you are in the waiting right now, do not despise it, do not run from it, do not surrender to despair, do not measure yourself by the speed of others, because God is not late, he is precise, his silence is not absence but strategy, and his delay is not denial but design, because he is preparing you for the very thing you were made for, and when the time is right, you will soar, you will mount up with wings like eagles. You will rise above the years of delay and what felt like wasted time. will suddenly reveal itself as the very soil of your destiny. The waiting will become the testimony, the silence will become the song, and the weight that once felt unbearable will be the story of how God carried you until you were ready to carry His promise. If this message blessed you, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like, comment, and share so others can be lifted too.